Well, with me now is Academy Head of Football Mark Robinson and defender Reuben Collins. Fascinating story to emerge over the weekend. AFC Wimbledon under-18s were 2-0 down at Lake Norrie. They come back to 2-2. Great enough in its own self. But more impressive than that is that they do it without coaching staff on the touchline. Reuben Collins, how did this idea come about?
Well, I think it came about from the start of the season generally, because this season Robbo was really big on us having player ownership and getting that squad mentality. For example, like in teams such as like the All Blacks, they're very together, they own themselves in what they take responsibility in everything they do. And it started from the beginning of the season. We had Camp KCL in pre-season to give us our life skills, help us gain responsibility as players. And even throughout the season, when we had people like Charlie Fogarty come in and just like giving us further inspiration, we've had little drips here and there throughout the season to give us more layers upon layers. And one day Robbo came in, and after our session we had a team meeting, and Robbo came in and he was saying, "Boys, what do you think of taking a game by yourselves?" And a few of us were a bit confused at first, but once Robbo explained, Robbo and James wouldn't be there, and us as players, we had to take responsibility in everything for that day. And and we got into it. We had, even before that, we had a few meetings to do with the risks, what could happen, what problems could occur, and how can we solve them. And on the day, it was down to us to try and get it done.
Absolutely. Mark Robinson, it's important to say that you haven't put yourself out of a job here or your coaching staff. It's an idea of yours. Take us through it from your side of things as well, and the fact that how do you get another team to kind of agree to the fact that we're not going to be there on the day, it's up to our players dealing with this?
I mean, the thing is, what it's a process, Rob. It's not like an idea that's going to cure or solve anything. It's just part of the process. So I've always been big on player ownership, and the academy is big on player ownership. So it's just kind of ramping it up. So we've always worked that way. But what I've done, I've kind of looked back in the past where I think we've fallen short on players that we're producing, and fallen short in teams in terms of our FA Youth Cup runs where we could have been better. And some of it stems down to ability, and some of it stems down, I think, where players can't react to ever-changing pitches and they can't react to situations. I had a really good chat with the gaffer at the end of last season. We were a couple of hours, and he was talking about things that frustrate him as a manager, and when players can't solve problems. So it's all to do with that, really, giving players empowerment. If you feel empowered, you get confident, and I think you can react to situations in front of you. So regards to Orient, I just rang them and talked to them about what we were doing, because I didn't want it to come across disrespectful that we weren't sending along any coaches. So I explained that it's been an ongoing process, and the boys actually picked a game at the start of the season, and to be fair, he was fantastic. He was like brilliant, and I had great feedback from him after. The boys were outstanding. So it's just part of a process, as well as Saturday went. It hasn't cured anything, it hasn't resolved anything, but what it's given is a fantastic platform for us to build on. So when there's little things that they don't do or don't take responsibility for, it's just something that I can refer back to. Because there was lots of things that happened on Saturday. The coach was late because it got caught down a road, so they ended up being 20 minutes late. So some of the boys who'd made their own way there, they rung on to those boys and they started getting ready. And these were all things that wouldn't happen if I was there or James was there, because they rely on you. So, these little things that they've just done shows them that you can do it, you can think on your feet, you can solve problems. So, but as I said, it's an ongoing process.
Well, Reuben, you were there, you were in the dugout as well, you're something the stresses of a coach as well at the time. You're 2-0 down with 10 minutes to go, but it's part of the learning process. Then you come back to 2-2, so just take us through the game.
I think, first of all, it was a whole squad thing. I can't stress enough how the boys stepped up on the day. It started off in the first half, we had everything set out, knew what we were going to do, everyone felt confident, happy, set up the warm-up, all our off-the-pitch roles, we'd fulfilled them, so everyone was feeling confident, happy, which led into the warm-up. The warm-up was excellent, everyone was loud, vibrant, and I think that showed in the game. We started brightly, we were doing our on-the-pitch roles as well. We were showing our characteristics as a Wimbledon team. unfortunately, we had a few mistakes, or we had 1 or 2 mistakes which led to the goals, but it was by no means of play, because I feel we played really well. It was probably one of the best on the balls, one of the best on the ball plays we've done of the season. But once again, had a few, like, it's just a miscommunication kind of thing, and which unfortunately put us 2-0 down. But half time we came together as a squad. Rudy, Archie stepping up along with all the other boys, which I found really fascinating, because whereas normally a few boys wouldn't talk, but even we had players like Ayub really filling into the conversation. And we decided we had a backup plan of a 3-5-2, because Robbo's made us do that formation. We're used to it, we know all the roles. Yes, we had that as a contingency plan if it went too bad. So at half time, but we were like, we can go into that, but the boys still wanted to go on. They were like, we feel this coming, we can feel it coming. But so we went on to that, and then about halfway through the second half, one of the Orient players went down. They went down, so it got us time to come together as a team again, and we just had a team talk, and the boys were like, okay, let's just change it up. We can feel it. We had players like Dan on the bench. He was like, I can come on. I know I can change the game, and came on. We were still attacking. We thought 3-5-2 more attacking formations. Let's just attack it. Let's go for it, boys. 2-0 down. Got nothing to lose, and the boys pulled through. Had Archie on the sideline with us after, because he had to have limited time, and me and Archie, because we were quite passionate, we were standing there. We were we were stressing a bit, but it turned out fine, and I now have a lot more respect for Robbo on the sideline.
And I've got to stress as well, we didn't talk to him about changing formation. We just said, you're taking the game, so we didn't talk about different formations, and they just decided on their own that it was something that we've played before that they thought would be useful. So, when you talk about potential outcomes, there's so many outcomes from the day, but that alone, the fact as a group that they decided to change formation, and they saw that and recognised that, what a great outcome in itself that they did that.
So has it gone better than you could have imagined, and also where do you want to take it to from now after this?
Yeah, I was thinking, obviously you run through things in your mind and think, where you're going to go next with it. And I've got to be honest, if they lost, I think my next strategies would be easier, because if they lose, you can kind of go back to, well, where did you go wrong? Why did it go wrong? And you can talk about the fact that, listen, this is why you need to have more ownership and be more independent and be able to make decisions on the pitch. My biggest worry would have been if they'd won, and won comfortably in some ways, because I think then, no disrespect to them, all of a sudden they can think, oh, we've solved it, we've got this in the bag, and I think that's what is important. The lads have got to remember, it was a one-off event in terms of the game, so their arousal levels would have been very high. They would have been pumped up, ready to get everything right. They wouldn't want to let each other down. And what I've said to them, listen, if it was a weekly occurrence, your standards may drop, but this is what you've got to look at in the future, and make sure your standards don't drop with these little things. So even in training today, I only had a few numbers, but they forgot something, and it straight away allowed me to refer back, go, come on boys, so straight away they switched on again. So so we've got further strategies. We've got a meeting on Friday where we're going to go through everything and look at stuff that we could have done better, and what went really well. And as I said, then it'll be an ongoing process. We're going to do it again. The boys want to do at least another 2 for the rest of the season, possibly one before Christmas and one after. And as I said, I see nothing but positive outcomes from it. Without sounding rude, I've had some quite moronic comments from people saying, oh, well, if they win comfortably, what are you going to do next? You're going to lose a job. My job, in my opinion, is to make myself as redundant as possible as a coach. My job is to be able to take them to the next level, not talk about things. Have you got your water bottle? Have you got your bibs? Those things that should happen. Are you going to work hard? Are you going to get people on toes at throw-ins? These things should just happen naturally. And I believe it's mine and James's job to take them to the next level as a collective, and more importantly as individuals. So So that's it really. It's just giving them that empowerment, and I think to you see it already, that giving the boys empowerment, you just see changes in them individually, like characters coming out. They're not scared of failure, because I keep telling them, if you're going to get better as players, you've got to be willing to fail.